So do you guys see that house behind me and then this one right here? Those two houses were bought at the peak of the last real estate market, and I want to show you right now how these people made a lot of money on these houses regardless of what the real estate market was doing. Stay tuned. What's going on, my YouTube friends? This is Jerry Abbott, your favorite Las Vegas realtor, out here again on another beautiful summer day in Las Vegas. Hey guys, I really think you're gonna like this video, but before we dive into it, three quick things. If this is your first time to the channel and you wanna learn everything there is to know about the Las Vegas real estate market, then definitely subscribe to the channel down below. Number two, make sure to give me a thumbs up like, guys. That would really help the channel out. And number three, if you guys are thinking about relocating to beautiful Las Vegas, I've got your back. I'm a local realtor here. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. Let's go dive into the video. All right, guys, before we dive into the real meat and potatoes of the Las Vegas real estate market, I know a lot of people are fearing a recession. They think prices are coming down. Everybody's worried. Everybody's trying to time the market. But I want to give you two prime examples. I want you to take a look at that house right behind me, and then this one right here, this single-story home. Okay, both of these homes were built 20 years ago. They were both built and sold for about $300,000. This home right here and this one, both of them, were both sold during the peak of the Las Vegas real estate market in 2008. They were both sold for about $550,000 each. Now, right after the 2008 peak, everything tanked. So the Las Vegas real estate market tanked, the entire country's real estate market tanked. But if you held on to the properties, this home right now just sold last month for $800,000. This one right here, even though it was bought at about $550,000 during the peak, this one right here worth over $700,000. So even though a lot of you guys have fears and you're trying to time the market and you're worried about real estate, it just goes to show you that holding on to real estate long-term, especially in Vegas, is a fantastic investment. Let's dive into the rest of the video right now. All right, guys, so I know what a lot of you are already thinking. We are in a recession. The media is covering it every day. Interest rates are going through the roof. Housing prices are coming down. Food prices are up. Gas prices are still up. Everything is kind of imploding on people all together at the same time, which is why people think obviously we're now in a recession. So let's dive a little bit deeper specifically into real estate. I'll first talk about it on a national level, and then I'm going to drill down into the local Las Vegas market. So let's get into that right now. All right, guys, what I want to do now is I want to take a little bit of a different approach, a little bit of a different angle, kind of calm some people down here, because the media has been, of course, sensationalizing the crashing of the economy, the recession, the real estate market, interest rates going up. All of it has been bad, but not as bad as you think, because the media loves to do what's an old expression in the media called, if it bleeds, it leads. So they have to sensationalize a story or make things much worse than it is to make sure they grab viewers. But what I want to talk about now in terms of specifics for the real estate market, not just on a national level, but in Las Vegas, it is not as bad as people are making it out to be. And I'm going to show you some statistics right now, especially in the Las Vegas area. All right, guys, what I want to do here is I want to show you in this first chart the average price point in Las Vegas, and I want you to take note of the three red boxes that I put here on the chart. So let's look over on the far left here. About a year ago, the average price in Las Vegas for a median home price was $405,000. And then you can see right here, gradual, if not dramatic, going all the way up to $485,000 in May of this year. Now we've gone down to $465,000, so it's only about a 4% price drop, but you could see from starting back a year ago how much prices have increased. Even though there's a little bit of a drop back, this is still a fairly high number for the average median home price in Las Vegas. All right, guys, let's take a look at this chart now. This is the monthly inventory. These are the amount of homes that are for sale right now currently in Las Vegas. I want you to focus in on a couple of these red boxes that I marked on the chart. So let's take a look here. Down in the middle right here, where I have this little box, back in March or April, there was roughly 1,900 homes for sale back then. That was one of the lowest inventories we ever had. That's when demand was at its strongest and the peak prices were really starting to get up there. Now, if you take a look in May, June, July, now into August, you could see a dramatic increase in inventory, up to 7,200 homes now currently for sale. So we've basically just about quadrupled the inventory in the last several months. And naturally, that's because interest rates have gone up. So you can see that the price points drop down a little bit, obviously, because now inventory is increasing and there's less buyer demand. All right, so now after taking a look at those charts, guys, I want you to just take a look at some of the resales here. I just brought up Zillow here just to show you a few homes, to show you what's going on at a few different price points. So let's take a look at this home. You can see right up here, this is a $525,000 home. This is on the west side of Las Vegas, but notice right underneath it says price cut $15,000. So in that $500,000 or so range, these people have done a price cut of about $15,000 because obviously they were asking for $540,000. They couldn't get it. So now they're on a little bit of a price cut. It's not dramatic, but it's a little bit of a price cut at this price range. All right, so this is the second of 3 homes I want to show you guys just as samples here. So we're going to move up in the price point range here a little bit into the upper $700,000. So now, again, let's take a look at the price right here. $775,000 is where it's currently listed. Again, price cut right underneath there, $24,000. So basically, the sellers here were trying to sell this nice modern home for about $800,000. They couldn't get it, so now they've got a price cut here of about $25,000. So they're down to about $775,000. Again, they try to get a high number, they couldn't get it, so they're coming down. Now they've only come down a little. It's not like they've slashed $100,000 or $200,000 off the price like a lot of people are thinking. All right, guys, let's take a look at the final one here. This one right now is $1,025,000. You can see right here. They did a price cut of about $73,000. So this home was trying to be sold at about $1.1 million. The sellers were trying to get a high number. They couldn't get it, so obviously they reduced it. Now this price cut's a little bit more dramatic than the last couple that I just showed you because the overall price on this one is higher. But I just want to show you guys, up until recently, sellers were able to get these really high numbers. Now there's been a reality check for them. They've had to drop prices. But if you notice, they're dropping prices not too dramatically. That's the difference here, guys. A lot of people think that prices are going to come down 30, 40, 50%, and these price cuts are really just nominal price cuts overall, regardless of whether or not the home is $500,000, $700,000, or $1 million. So did you guys notice anything specific about the information I just showed you on screen? The real estate prices here in Las Vegas have more or less kind of stabilized. They may have gone down just a little bit, but they have not crashed like a lot of people are thinking. If you take a look at the resales, and even though they're slashing prices, those prices should have never been at those levels to begin with. So those are really not the real prices. Those are artificially inflated prices that the sellers are trying to be greedy and getting a high price point for their home, and now they're coming back to reality. Even the new builders obviously are cutting prices now because they're having some trouble at those high price points because they were way too high to begin with. But the price point reductions, as you just saw, are nominal. They're not as bad as a lot of people are thinking. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. This is just the beginning. Prices are going to keep coming down another 10%, 20%, 30%. Some of you guys think you're going to be able to pick homes up, especially in Las Vegas, for pennies on the dollar. And I want you guys to realize something. If we really are in a recession right now, nobody knows for sure, but it certainly looks like we're heading in that direction, typically real estate prices will correct. It's not a crash. There's a big difference between a correction and a crash. A recessionary time period usually means real estate prices might go down 10 or 20%. We don't know, obviously, nobody has a crystal ball, but it's usually a nominal correction, especially at the trajectory that we've been at. But a lot of people, again, they're trying to sensationalize everything. They're trying to tell everybody that the market is going to crash all the way to the bottom. That's typically never going to happen again because in 2008, when it really crashed, we had a huge mortgage crisis. We don't have that right now. That's why this real estate market is different. All right, so you guys might be really surprised with what I'm about to say, especially since I'm a realtor and everybody always thinks realtors are always trying to tell you it's a great market to buy or sell in. I'm going to give you 2 specific reasons as to why you should not buy a home in Las Vegas. So the first reason as to why you should not buy a home in Las Vegas is if you're too price sensitive to the short-term fluctuations. If you are trying to time the market, which I don't advise anyone to do, and you just held on to property like I showed you at the beginning part of the video, and you hold the property long term, you're most likely going to make a lot of money by holding on to real estate, especially in Las Vegas. But if you're worried about the short-term price fluctuations and you're trying to time the market, don't even bother getting into the market. You're not going to time it right, and you're probably too apprehensive to buy real estate to begin with, and you might be obviously too worried about buying at the top. So if you're worried about those things, don't buy a home here in Las Vegas. So the second reason as to why you should not move to Las Vegas, or anywhere for that matter, is if you're too price sensitive to the increasing of interest rates. Now I want you to take a look at this on-screen graphic here. This is an example of a mortgage of $450,000. Take note of those red boxes that I put on the screen. At the 3% level, take a look to the right. The payment is about $1,900 a month roughly on a 30-year mortgage. Now take a look down on the bottom left at 5%. Go over to the right side of that and you see that it's roughly a $2,400 a month payment. So a 2% increase in interest rate there is about another $500 a month added to your mortgage payment. So if you're price sensitive to that and it's actually gone up a little bit more now, then definitely don't consider buying anything in Las Vegas or anywhere for that matter. All right, so now let's talk about why you should buy a home in Las Vegas. I'm going to give you 3 reasons as to why you should buy one. Okay, so let's start with the first one. The first one is because you really want to buy a home in Las Vegas. I know that sounds very basic and very elementary, but you really want to buy a home in Vegas, then you definitely should buy one. That's the most important factor all the time. If you want to move to Las Vegas and you want a home here and you don't have to worry about an economic situation, definitely buy a home here if you really want to buy a home here. So the second reason as to why you want to buy a home in Las Vegas is because you really just want to live in Las Vegas and enjoy everything that this city has to offer. And we have a lot to offer. We have the best weather here, over 300 days of sunshine per year. We have the best entertainment in all of the country. We have fantastic outdoor activities where you can go hiking, you can go water skiing, and of course we also have fantastic, still affordable real estate here. There is a lot to offer in this city. That's another reason as to why you want to buy a home here. And the third reason as to why you want to buy a home here in Las Vegas is because you have the economic means to withstand any kind of short-term price fluctuations or any kind of fluctuations on interest rates. If you have the economic means and you want to live in Las Vegas and you don't have to worry about those types of things, obviously that makes the decision a lot easier rather than having to worry about trying to time the market in terms of price or interest rates. So one thing that I find really interesting when talking to a lot of people and seeing a lot of comments on my YouTube channel is I can just tell a lot of people are hoping for this great reset. They're hoping for home prices to drop 50%. They're hoping for food prices to drop, gas prices. The problem is it's not going to happen the way people think, because when we're in a hyperinflationary time, things stay overinflated. Now, I do realize that the real estate market has been on an absolute tear. Can that flatten out or drop down a little bit? Of course it can. So that's why some people are waiting. But over time, just like with the food prices, just like college tuition, everything keeps going up over time. The only thing that doesn't go up over time is our interest rate that we get in our bank accounts. If you want to put your money in the bank account and get 1%, you can do that. But the best place to put your money over the long term, especially from the example I showed you at the beginning of the video, is in real estate, especially in Las Vegas, because the historical value of real estate here has continued to go up. Okay, so one other thing I want to talk about, which is definitely the elephant in the room, and I've gotten a lot of feedback and a lot of people commenting to me about the water crisis in Las Vegas. The water crisis is obvious. Lake Mead levels, as you can see, have gone down tremendously. People are concerned, and rightfully so. But there's a couple of things to this equation that a lot of people don't know. So I want to point out 2 things that a lot of people are not privy to about the water crisis here in Las Vegas. Number one, Las Vegas leads the country in total water conservation. So that means if you turned on every sprinkler, every faucet in every hotel room or every shower, all of that water gets recycled. So there is no wasting of any water in Las Vegas. Now, we have a lot of radiational cooling, which evaporates a lot of the water, which is why the Lake Mead levels go down. So that is definitely an issue. But the second thing a lot of people don't realize, aside from the conservation side of it, we have built what's called the third straw. Now, as you can see here, the third straw is an enormous 24-foot intake pipe. It's actually a tunnel that goes into the lower levels of Lake Mead to really be able to siphon out a tremendous amount of water that's down there that people don't realize. So those are 2 really important things regarding the water conservation and the access to water that we have that a lot of people don't realize. But I want to mention another thing real quick here that will really make people realize what the real issue is and what we really should be focusing on. So what we really need to focus on, in my opinion, after a lot of reading and a lot of research, is we need to start to become more proactive in Las Vegas regarding water rather than reactive. Reactive is what we're doing right now. We're trying to conserve water. We're trying to build intake pipes and valves and tunnels to access more and more water so that we can keep using it, because obviously as the population grows, we need more water. That's reactive. If we became more proactive, which I think we really should focus on, that would be things like creating desalination plants in places like California, or building pipelines through aqueducts that we could do through other parts of the country to access water. That's a proactive approach. I think that's far better than being reactive by trying to do all water conservation. The conservation is something we have to do, but if we became more proactive, we would not have any kind of a water crisis here in Las Vegas, and that is definitely in the works right now. All right, guys, before we wrap up the video, I just want to mention one quick thing to you guys. And I know I'm going to probably take a lot of heat for this. I'm going to get a lot of comments about it because a lot of people are thinking the market is going to tank. I understand that mentality. I know we're at a peak level. I understand if you guys want to wait on real estate, especially in Las Vegas, and that's fine. Like I've always said, I am not here to force real estate down anyone's throat. I'm just trying to create a lot of analysis here to kind of give you guys what direction you want to go in. But here's what I want to say. Whether it's the stock market or more recently Bitcoin or the real estate market now, everyone thinks they have a crystal ball and they could time the market. I could say that the market is going to stay high and you guys could think that the market is going to go low. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. What I want to tell you guys is because we're in a hyperinflationary time, the market might come down a little bit. It might flatten, it might come down a little, could come down a lot, although I don't think it is. Trying to time the market is not the right thing to do. And I'll tell you why, because a lot of people think that Las Vegas, again, like I just said in the previous segment, Vegas is running out of water, everything is going to tank. And I understand that, but if you think about it, Las Vegas is really too big to fail at this point. There's 2.5 million people here. We have major sports teams. We have major corporations here. And let me just tell you guys a quick little thing. During the peak of COVID, you can see here on screen, Las Vegas was an absolute ghost town. People thought Vegas was finished completely, would never recover. And now you can see Vegas is at full capacity. So every time people think Vegas is dead, it surprises you. So I just want to let you guys know, whether you're trying to time the market or not, it doesn't really matter. Vegas is here to stay, real estate is here to stay, and I think whether you want to wait on real estate or you want to buy real estate now, it is a fantastic investment based on a historical perspective. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments section down below what you think of this video. I hope I shed some light on the Las Vegas real estate market as to whether or not you want to move here. And if you do want to move here and Las Vegas is right for you, definitely reach out to me. I'm a local realtor. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. I know every inch of this city. Just call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll help you find that perfect dream home. I'll see you guys in the next video.